Okay, so I've had some questions regarding what exactly is the belly fat code. So what I'm gonna do right now is literally walk you through. I've had some questions about the belly fat code. So what I'm gonna do is literally walk you through exactly what the belly fat code is. So hold on, let me. Yeah. For those, I thought my light was on, but it is not. There we go. All right, so walk you through exactly what the belly fat code is. So, yeah, I'm on the right page. Okay. So, first part is that we are always going to be thinking these four things as we work through it. This is not this cookie cutter thing that here, everyone, here's your plan. This is what you're going to do. This is what you must follow, or you will die. This is for you about how do we adapt the principles that I'm going to give you, and the three principles: choice, choices, your code, and your consistency. How do I apply this to your life? So we're always going to look at first, we're going to observe what is your current situation instead of just diving in and do. What is your current situation so we can understand and explore how we can apply these principles to your life so it doesn't feel like you're trying to put on like this like coat that just doesn't fit. We're going to strategize, use strategy to make this plan again work for your life and the season of life that you're in. And then we're going to try it on and then we're going to tweak. Right. So it's like, if you ever gone in for like a custom fitting for something, like they go in and they go to hem your pants and you're like, we tweak, we see how they fit. And then we might have to pull up the hem a little bit more, might have to let out the hem a little bit less. All right. So then here are the three C's of the belly fat code. We have choices, we have code, and we have consistency. And those are the three phases that we are going to move through. Every month, we are going to talk about these three areas. So we'll have a monthly focus. And then underneath that monthly focus, we'll have weekly calls emphasizing a piece of the three C's. And every week, there'll be a new module released to you so that you'll have the modules that you'll be able to look at it on your own. And then we'll have a call where we'll just talk about pieces of it. Also, to be able to ask me questions about anything that is coming up in this particular module, but you'll also ask me any question that might be coming up for you in, life. So the first phase is choices, right? So first we start with the mindset GPS, and very similar to we talked about this on if you listen to the masterclass, we talked about on the masterclass. And so our four mindsets are, I think about mindset is GPS. We punch in GPS, we're going to grandma's house, and we all know the route to grandma's house. We go in there for 400 years. But some of us, we have what I call rigid mindsets, that we tell ourselves that this is the only way to go. I must go this way. And if I don't go this way, I'm not going to get there. But GPS pops up and it says, hey, traffic building ahead. And if you take this next exit, you're going to get there 5 minutes faster. And so some of us are like, nope, this is the way. This is the only way to go. Then we have other people who are like, wow, I know that this route's not working, but I'm afraid that if I take the exit, what's going to happen? I don't know. And you want absolute certainty. The next one is that we have roadblocks, right? So yeah, the traffic's building up ahead, but you're like, but what if I take this exit and there's construction and it doesn't save me any time? What if I'm always stopping and going? And then we have the final one is like what I call release, where it's like, you know what, I'm just over this. I just need this to be easy. I just want to do anything to get me out of this. And these are all where we are. I was a rigid mindset person. And when I did the call, there are a lot of people who were like in between in between roadblocks and resistance, right? So it's like we can straddle the two different ones. So when we come into this choice phase, it's like I'm working with you to navigate the middle so that we have the extremes. Like, if this is 1 to 10, 1 is like, I must never eat anything ever again, to my 600-pound life, come on and come find me. We're coming between that 5 and 7, where like 5 is like, I'm being a little bit more mindful. Maybe I have a vacation coming up. Maybe I have a vacation coming up. I work with women in the military. I have a weigh-in coming up. So I'm moving more towards the 5. And then I have a 7 where it's like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I'm going to loosen up a little bit. I'm not going to be like, oh, release the hounds, right? So that's where I'm trying to get us to live. So navigate the middle, and I call this moderation, right? So this is what I call moderation. And usually when we say moderation, some people are like, I don't even know what that is. Where it's like we're trying to release the food FOMO, that I'm never going to have this again. That we feel like there's never going to be enough. We're not romanticizing foods. And we're able to live in a place where we can make a choice, like make a choice that satisfies us, know what we're going to eat, and not feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God. Oh, that was so horrible. I'm going to have to beat myself up. I'm going to have to deprive myself. I'm going to have to do double duty. I'm going to have to, reduce, right? That's what we're trying to find us, so that we make decisions without peer pressure, with just knowing like who we are and what is going to serve us. And if we choose to indulge, we choose to indulge without guilt. Then we move into what I call what the fuck to eat, right? And this one it's a big one, because so many of us have heard, I shouldn't have this, I shouldn't eat this before that, and carbs before fat, and this and this and this. No, like we're just going to figure out how does food work for us, so that we're going to talk about proteins, good fats, vegetables, carbs. We're going to talk about, should we adding more fat, should we adding more carbs, what sugar. We're going to talk all about that. We're also going to talk about tracking our food. Now, I feel that from time to time we all need to track our food, not in a like I must balance to the penny kind of way, but more of like, what am I taking in? So tracking comes in two phases: calories and macros. Many of us have heard those terms, but I like to also think about internal tracking, where it's like, am I hungry? Am I full? How do I feel after this? Am I knowledge about what I'm eating? Am I just eating it because I read that it's a superfood and I should be eating this, right? And how do and also the experience, right? Some of us are very experiential, that, we're foodies and we want to be in the moment. Oh, excuse me. I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that. And then we want to talk about like feeling satisfied and satiated, right? So like, what does it take for us to feel satisfied, and what is a great metabolic meal? Because ultimately the belly fat code is about, how do I start to repair my metabolism so that I stop burning sugars and I start burning the stored fat in my body, because we have this fat in our body because we've become fat storing machines. And how do we flip that switch? And it's not an overnight switch. That's why this is a 12-week program designed to help you start to turn the dial from store the fat to burn the fat. Then we're going to really focus on listening to our bodies. Like, I know people hear that and they're like, I don't know what that means. How do I get my hunger, my energy, and my cravings, so that I understand what foods, take away my hunger, what foods drive my hunger, what behaviors drive my hunger? How's my energy? Am I high after I eat something, or do I crash after I eat something? Does something trigger my cravings, right? We're going to look at all of that. We're going to look at your physiology. How are you physically built? We're going to look at your psychology of like how you relate to food. I talked about this in the masterclass. Are you someone who's like, I must clean my plate? Or are you someone who's like, I must eat 3 square meals a day? I must eat 5 meals a day? Like, who are you? What are your personal preferences? Are you someone who's a salty person? Someone who craves sugary people? Are you a savory person? Like, what kind of person are you? Are you a foodie? And then how do we put this all into practice so that we can make this work for your life without you feeling like you are, hashtag dieting? Then we move into exercise. We're going to talk about strength training, because one of the ways to really utilize the blood sugar that's roaming around excessively in our bloodstream is we're going to talk about strength training, so that we can start to pull that excess blood sugar into our muscles. We're going to talk about, cardio. What place does it have in it? We're also going to talk about movement. How much movement should I be having? We're going to talk about overtraining. Yes, I still have those women who are attracted to me who are like, my workout must look a certain amount of time. I must hit certain body parts. I must. Versus like, is it I must, or is it up here, right? Is it in my brain telling me that? And finally, it's like, what makes a good workout, right? How do I know it's a good workout? Because we've been programmed that it's about time, or it's about, feeling sore, or how do we know what's a good workout? We're going to talk about sleep, right? For many people, I know this is, especially as we are perimenopausal, postmenopausal, menopausal, Sleep, for some people, it's like, I would love to sleep. So how do we get better? A good, at least 7 hours of sleep a night. Stress management. Many of us have just normalized stress. This is just my life. It's who I am. It's how I am. No, it's not. Let's see how we can really focus in on being better about stress. Like, is it meditation for you? Is it breath work? What is it that we can help to control stress in our life? And then we move into phase 2, what I call code, right? So it's like, how do we create these strong habits? And habits are created by what I call using your reps. And the reps are, how do I work on something that's realistic for me, I'm excited about, I can make a plan for in my life, and it's sustainable. One of the things you'll learn from me, just by following me or being in this course, and I am all about a plan, because what gets planned gets done. And I'm not talking about these rigid plans, like it must be this. I'm talking about, like, how do I, look at my day, look at my week and say, okay, this is where I'm going to work out. This is the foods I'm going to eat. I'm going to the grocery store on this day, so that life just doesn't just happen to me. I get it. Like, sometimes life does happen, but at least 80% of it has a structure to it, so that when the 20% happen, you're like, okay, this is how I dip and I dive. We're going to talk about non-negotiables, and this is paramount. And I'm talking about non-negotiables from two sides. Non-negotiables from, these are things I do on a regular basis that make me feel healthy, regardless of what's happening on my life, regardless of how busy I am. These are the things, healthy things I can just easily do. And these are also non-negotiables, like, you know what, this makes me feel happy. For me, a non-negotiable that makes me feel happy: coffee with cream and sugar. Even when I was competing and I was, removing so much from my food, I always had coffee with cream and sugar. It made me feel great. Always had it. So I really want you to think about those two things, and we'll talk about this as we go this, so that we're finding things that are challenging but doable for us, so that ultimately our lives feel effortlessly. Like, I'm feeling healthy doing it effortlessly, versus like, hang on, is it in the book? Should I have this? No, we are feeling effortless about what we're doing with that. And then finally, we move into the last phase, is what is consistency. This is what we're all chasing. How can I do what I'm doing on a regular basis? So that means we are looking at our priorities, right? What's going on in our life? And so that we can start to stop trying to cram 5 million things in, and just be like, okay, let's take a macro view. And I'm a big person of, like, I call things seasons, but it's 90-day blocks of time, because, it's like basically from October to December, what's going on in your life? From January to March, what's going on in your life? From April to May, what's going on in your life? Because I think about it like this. I have a very good friend, former client. Her son is an elite athlete, and he plays basketball. And so literally from the end of October through April, she's just going crazy following him. So it's like, okay, in that busy time, what are your bare minimums? Knowing that, you're taking him to practice, there's games, there's, he plays only for his team, but he also plays for a traveling team. So it's like, she's running crazy. So it's like, what can you do? Because you're not going to do what you do when there's no season. Second thing is, like, I have a client who is a tax accountant, and literally from, middle of January through May, she's going crazy. So it's like, those are their, like, those are their busy season. So it's like, we're not going to try something new there. We're going to try to say, okay, what are your non-negotiables? How do we make it so that your non-negotiables fit when you have busy times, versus you feeling guilty, like, oh, well, I just can't do anything. I can't do everything, so I shouldn't do anything. Guilty as charged, right? So we're going to focus on that. We're going to look at our failures, right? We all fail. So how do we take the failure and say, okay, why didn't it work? Oh, what didn't work? Why didn't it work? And how do I make adjustments to that? And so then we get to the point of, like, it's now a routine, right? And that's your fit girl magic, where it's like, we have great habits that lead to routines, that lead to consistency, that lead to lasting results. And that comes down to, like, really focusing on the power of one thing. I know so many of us want to dive in and we want to just, like, do all the things, but how many times do we do all the things and we feel like shit because we couldn't do all the things, right? So here's where we just say, stop trying to do it all, because it's not possible for us. So instead, I want us to really start to say, okay, It's not possible for me, and that's okay. So I'm going to, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right if I don't do everything. So, and then what's completely inside the belly fat code, right? So you are going to get a personalized plan. We are going to have an initial kickoff call. I'm going to lay this all out again for those of you who join me inside, just so we can go point by point. You can ask me questions. You get 3 monthly private strategy calls so that we can look at what, the initial things I lay out for you, and then we can tweak based on your specific thing. And then you're going to get homework, and then you're going to do the homework. Every week you're going to get a module released, based on all the pieces of these 3 phases. And then we're going to have a call. And on those calls, we're going to break down that training even further. It's not going to be a regurgitation of what is on the private site. It's going to be, I'm going to pull out an element of it, and we're going to talk about it. On those calls, you can also talk to me about anything, right? How you're applying it, or, a success or a pain. You can talk to me about anything during those calls. You'll also have 90-day access to my Fit Girl Magic Society. That is my monthly group mentorship program. And so in there, you will find I give workouts. I give workouts for them. I also give recipes in there. I also give recipes. There's also a private podcast in there for them. So you get access to that. Plus, as an additional support for you, there's a program called Volley that you are able to just leave me voice messages, video messages. I also have a Facebook group because I know that some people aren't into apps. So I also know some people aren't into Facebook. So, there's plenty of ways for you to access me for support and accountability and questions. And, last but not least, when you finish this course, I'm going to give you $100 back. Right? Because that is how committed I am to you finishing the course. That's how committed I am to you having success, is that you're going to get $100 back when you complete this course. So what are your next steps? Apply, apply, apply. Somewhere around this video, you are going to see the application. Apply. Applications are due on Sunday, November 13th. It will only take you 6 minutes to complete the application. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for women who are coachable. And it's like, you are open and to applying the feedback that I give you. If I say, hey, why don't we try adding a little bit more protein in? You're going to apply you're going to say, okay, I'm going to try adding a little bit more protein to my breakfast. You're going to add the protein to your breakfast, and you're going to be like, you know what, that worked. Or, oh, you know what, I felt stuffed. Okay, great. Let's see how we are going to tweak that. You understand that in order to see a change, I must make a change, right? I can't just keep rerunning the same program and expecting a different result. I can't think that, it's because I didn't go hard enough. I didn't have enough willpower. No, it's like the program you're running is not working for you in your life anymore. So we have to do something different. Second, stop comparing yourself to the person in the past. I see it all the time. Well, Kim, when I was 30, I did this. 5 years ago, you're not the same person you were 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. So let's stop rerunning old shit and start to learn us now, who we are now. Doing the work. I'm a big fan of, so many people I see, they bought the program, they bought the book, and they're like, it fixes me. I'm not here to fix you. I am not the mainstay repair person. But what I can do is I can give you the information, and I can work with you to apply it to your life so that we can start to learn how this is going to work for you, and we can bob and weave to make it apply to your life. Lastly, own your shit, right? Being able to say, you know what, that didn't work, and not shut down. Be like, okay, now I got to pivot. I got to navigate. I got to figure out another way around this. All right. So the belly fat code application to do on Sunday. If you have any other questions, let me know. I've opened the kimono and shown you everything I have for this program. My goal is that you learn how to navigate this. I worked on this for 10 years. This is 10 years of work of me, working with various clients, applying different pieces of this. This is me saying, you know what, it took me 10 years. I don't want it to take you 10 years. I want you to understand that belly fat is not your fault. We hit 40 and our bodies just went crazy. My body, I felt like, gave me the finger. And I'm going to help you really understand how to navigate this perimenopausal, postmenopausal life, how to get to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm over 40 and I don't want to spend all that time in the gym. I don't want to micromanage every bite that I put in my mouth. So belly fat code, if that is who you are or who you want to be, I'm looking for women who are like, you know what, Kim, let's just get some shit done. So see you on the inside. If you have any questions, do me a favor, reply back to me, hello@KimBarnesJefferson.com. You will also find me on the socials, Kim Jefferson Coach. Just reach out to me. I am accessible to you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.